Hey, it's me, MLB. Here's chapter 80 of Chance Ball, and this one is titled One Cranky Dabi. Yes, because I've turned the heat on, he replied, still holding his hand out over it. Are you gonna get burned to your hand? She asked, getting a little nervous about how close his hand was to the plate. Yes, he said confidently. I don't want you to burn your hand and go to hospital, she said, shaking her head. What if I do it fast? He asked. I touch, and then I pull back quick. Will it be owie? She asked again, still not 100% on board with him touching the hot plate with his bare hand. It might be, or it might not be, he replied. You were watching on curiously, listening to this whole conversation, but from the corner of your eye you saw him slip something up under his chef shirt and into his sleeve, and then you saw a ball-looking item roll down inside his sleeve until it got to his wrist, where he then blocked it from coming out. You count to 3. Can you count to 3? He asked Koemi. She nodded. Good. You count to 3, and then I'll do a quick touch, and we'll see if anything happens. Yes? She nodded nervously. Okay, count, he called. 1, she said loudly. 2, 3! And with a loud yell, which made Koemi jump in her seat, he smacked his hand down onto the plate, but when he removed it, there was an egg that had been cracked there, and your little girl gasped with amazement. You laid an egg! She exclaimed, watching while he used a spatula to pick the eggshells out as the egg bubbled and cooked rapidly on the plate. Well, it's hot enough, the chef said with a grin at you and Dabi while you chuckled at his antics. Koemi was immediately captivated by this chef, and that's when the show began. Did you want some of this egg? He asked her. Yeah, she exclaimed. Okay, you can catch it then, he said, flicking his spatula under it and pretending to flick it at her, but stopped at the last minute. Unfortunately, Dabi fell for it and quickly stuck his hand out in front of Koemi's face to block the potential egg-to-face situation, but the egg never came. Ah, quick reflexes, the chef said to Dabi with a twinkle in his eye. You want to catch the egg? If you want to toss it, then yeah, Dabi replied with a smirk. The chef pretended that he was going to do something else and started to turn around, but faked out and quickly flicked his spatula under the egg and tossed it right at Dabi's face. What the chef didn't know was that he was dealing with a professional volleyball player who was used to fast-moving objects and calculating trajectories at the speed of light, and when the chef thought he had caught Dabi off guard enough to make him look like an idiot by copying an egg to the face, he instead found himself looking at a Dabi with an egg neatly caught in his mouth. Oh, the chef exclaimed, you caught it in your mouth. Yay, Daddy! Koemi squealed with glee, clapping her hands wildly. Dabi gave the chef a smug look, and a zap of electricity seemed to snap between them. There was going to be a power struggle for sure here. You want another egg? The chef asked Dabi. If you have another one to spare, Dabi replied, still with a smug look on his face. So the chef plucked out another egg from seemingly nowhere, and then threw it up and caught it on the edge of his spatula, and the contents dribbled down onto the hot plate, searing right away. Love, the chef announced as he drew a heart with the dribbling egg contents. Because she's beautiful. He then pointed at you. Oh man, that's one thing you don't want to do, chef. If you roll Dabi up that way, you're going to be in for a world of pain, you thought with a forced smile on your face to the chef. Oh, so you want to play that game, do you? Dabi asked the chef. Oh, heck, there it is. Protective Dabi. I don't see a ring, the chef teased. Holy crap, this chef has balls, you thought as you glanced at Dabi to see his expression. It was neutral, the worst kind of expression. You looked closer and saw his jaw flex, indicating he was pissed, but biting his tongue. Oh, crap. Dabi, please don't jump this chef in the restaurant. You quickly looked around and saw there were about 6 other patrons in the place, and your stomach clenched. He would totally still throw fists with this amount of people in here. You looked back at Dabi, who still hadn't said anything to the ballsy chef, and then you had an idea. Leaning over to Dabi, you grabbed him by the neck of his shirt and yanked him towards yourself. Then as he looked at you, you gave him an extremely hot, open-mouthed kiss right in front of the chef. You understand? You said briskly to the chef as you pushed Dabi back to an upright position on his chair. Crystal clear, the chef said, holding his hands up in surrender as the egg continued to cook away on the plate. Daddy, catch it in your mouth again, Koemi said with excitement, completely unaware of the tension flying around between the adults. Sure, baby, Dabi said to her, then looked at the chef again. You want to hit me up with some more egg? He asked, his voice still not sounding the friendliest. Coming right up, sir. 1, 2, 3. And as it looked like he was about to throw it, the chef stopped, making Dabi wiggle his head a little as if he were adjusting to catch it, and the chef roared, laughing. "I got you," he cackled, then quickly tossed it to try and make it land on Dabi's face and not in his mouth, but your quick reacting man still caught it in his mouth. Koemi squealed with excitement again, and the chef did his best to stop the sour look on his face. He was out to make Dabi look like a fool, but so far it wasn't working. "So, what do you want to eat tonight?" the chef asked, changing subjects to switch up the mood. "Surely you don't want to eat egg all night?" You pulled out 2 menus and gave one to Dabi so you could both look through while the chef tossed his spatula around to keep Koemi entertained, which was working a treat. After selecting a few dishes, you told the chef what you would like and he started to cook, flicking his cooking implements around with great flamboyancy, showing off as best he could, but the only one really on his side was Koemi, as you and Dabi had had enough of this guy by now. Once the dishes were coming to completion, he tapped the side of the hot plate to get your and Dabi's attention, as you'd been having a chat amongst yourselves. "The shrimp sauté," he announced, tapping around the shrimp pieces that were all cooking and ready for eating. "Yep," Dabi said as he picked up a bowl and held it out for the chef. "You catch," the chef said as he scooped up a few of the shrimp. No matter which way he flicked the food, Dabi still managed to catch it, and it was starting to irk the chef that he couldn't get Dabi to drop them. Most other patrons would fumble everything, which he enjoyed watching, but not this guy. "Okay." He then turned to you, plastering a fake smile on his face. "The rice dish." No, that's for my daughter," he said. "You catch." He pointed at you with his trusty spatula. "How am I supposed to catch rice?" you asked with a confused look on your face. "It's going to go everywhere." "Catch!" he demanded, flicking the spatula under one portion of the rice and flicking it up at you. As expected, the rice went everywhere, and all over you, in your hair, down your shirt and into your lap. Unfortunately, because the rice was seasoned, it was a bit wet and sticky, and the sauce stained into your outfit immediately. The chef roared, laughing, and that's when Dabi lunged at him and grabbed him from over the hot plate, then yanked him half over the searing barbecue top. "You'd better frickin' apologise," he snarled at the chef, "before I roast you." Sorry, the chef yelled, looking over at the supposed bouncer in the restaurant to come and sort things out. "Daddy, what are you doing?" Koemi asked with confusion. "You're a freaking asshole," you shot at the chef. 2 other staff members ran over and grabbed for Dabi's hand to pry them off the chef and separate the two, while another attended to you and helped you wipe the sticky rice off your front. Missy K was still confused as to what had just happened, but was most concerned about how her daddy had grabbed the chef who, in her eyes, seemed to be having the time of his life. She hadn't seen the rice go all over you, because Dabi was between her and you, and he had reacted the same time that the rice had landed on you and had blocked Koemi's vision of you. But when Dabi sat back in his seat, she saw you wiping rice off yourself, and she asked what had happened. "That man threw rice at Mummy," Dabi said in a pissed voice, watching as the chef was smartly removed and another took his place and kept cooking. "Why?" Koemi asked innocently. "'Cause he's a dick," Dabi said loudly, loud enough for the chef, flanked by staff members as he was walked out the back, to hear. "What's a dick?" "Him," Dabi gestured to the chef again as he was led out the back. "Daddy, remember your words," you said to Dabi. You didn't want her to start using that kind of language. "You okay?" he asked you, turning his attention to you while the staff were still fussing around you and wiping things down. "Yes and no," you said, flicking more rice off your lap. "You want to leave?" he asked. "No, I just want to eat, then go," you mumbled. The staff were extremely apologetic for the chef's behaviour and offered the whole meal free of charge, so that was nice. The food itself was amazing. It was just the chef that had ruined the night. "Don't worry, Mummy. That dick is gone now," Koemi's little voice said from the other side of Dabi once you had all resumed eating. You knew it wasn't exactly an appropriate thing for her to say, but it really did make you feel better, and you grinned at her and stifled a chuckle as you ate. That's not exactly a nice thing to say, but we can say it just this once about that guy, okay?" you said across to her. "Okay, Mummy," she replied, digging her spoon into the rice and shoveling it into her mouth. The rest of the night was okay, and by the time you left with a full belly and food free of charge, you were feeling much better. "Please," the staff said as you all got up to leave when you finished, "we apologise for what happened and would like to gift you a t-shirt from here. It's merchandise." No, it's fine," you said to them, but Dabi reached out and took it anyway. "Thanks," he said. "Food was good." They bowed and thanked him, and then saw you off at the door. On the walk back, he was pretty quiet, and you thought maybe he was brooding over not being able to punch the chef's face in, but he was wondering if having the reception at that place tomorrow was going to be a good idea. Or was it going to ruin the whole day because of bad memories? "Don't worry, babe," you said calmingly as you took his hand in yours while Koemi skipped ahead. "It's fine. We got free food." He squeezed your hand and smirked down at you. "Your favourite place could burn down, but it would be all rectified if you somehow got free food out of it," he said with a chuckle. "True story," you laughed. And there ends chapter 80. I'll see you tomorrow for chapter 81. See you then.